What's up, bounty hunters? No Raylos, no Ray Nobodies, no sequel trilogy fans of any kind. If you show up to troll me while in comments just to be a jackass, I will probably let you have it with both barrels and ban you and then take your comment off. Again, if you can't deal with somebody not agreeing with you, and I don't care if you're an SJW or what have you, if you can't deal with it, hi Bunny Bear, then, don't, scroll past, okay? Scroll past. This goes for Raylos and ST fans, SJWs in general, and people with, hey Space Monk, and people within the fandom who want everything to be bad, okay? And desperately need to be right about everything, okay? I don't care about you. And you can stay off my channel, all right? They know who they are. Morning, Carlos. Anyway, wow, there's a lot of different people in the chat the last few days. This is great. Welcome, people in chat. Welcome, watchers. Let's talk about the world between worlds. So, there's a book out there. I think it's the one about the Sith that talks about Palpatine's. Yeah, we do, but I don't. Let me finish this, please. That talks about the world between worlds, and it basically is the Palpatine, I think, from Rebels and Clone Wars. Okay, howdy, Matt Piranha. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about this. Talks about the world between worlds. The world between worlds, when you look at it, it is a portal into a completely different dimension of the Force. And there are different portals going into different timelines. In the episode World Between Worlds in Rebels, Ezra saves Ahsoka during her fight with Vader, okay? All right. They almost get captured by Palpatine, and then they escape. She goes into another portal for her own timeline, and Ezra goes into his. Now, one of the things, and Coach at Echo Base put up is a picture of a lightsaber with the ST timeline, and Ahsoka's on that side for some reason, and I understand why, but you got to have her on both sides. Okay, you should actually have her on this side of you got Ezra, Thrawn, and you should have Ahsoka on the other side, pointing to a different timeline. If Ezra doesn't save Ahsoka, the sequel trilogy happens. If he does, it doesn't happen. Okay, again, go back and look at episode 16 of Mandalorian. Within the so-called Disney canon, the one that Pablo, farted out his ass, and Kennedy said, "Oh, this is great. We just go with that." Yeah. Luke Skywalker's first Padawan. Not that they ever really explored what Luke was doing. Bloodlines completely ignores him and Han, and the fact that he who should have been aborted isn't even in the picture. He's off traveling. That would be Kyle Ron. Doesn't really explore what Luke was doing. Okay, now there's a book out there that's coming out about how Luke goes on this travel, and Lando, they stole my story about Han for Lando because Lando's black, and we can't make a white man be, a hero anymore. Can we? That's a horrible thing to do. Horrible. Anyway, I'm going to say this about that. Lando is a secondary character, Okay, I like him, but him getting his own book and even his own show is kind of a why? Why? All right, I'm just gonna say it now. Anyway, so in their canon, Luke's first Padawan, because there aren't any other kids out there that are, there aren't any, and there aren't any other Jedi's either that come out of hiding when Vader and the Emperor are gone. Luke's first Padawan is ugly. Okay. Okay. But episode 16, same exact time frame of him, 5 years after Return of the Jedi, Luke shows up and takes Grogu. So you're already seeing what looks to be a retcon, okay, of all of this, all right? It's very interesting to me that it looks to me like by the very nature of saving Ahsoka, they may have already altered the timeline, okay? And I think Filoni put that in there for a specific reason to do that. Because I think he saw this shit coming. And he did not like it. And he, I dream of the day someone comes up with a meme having Jason Solo force choking Kyle Ron. And Jaina standing there with Rey dead at her feet with her lightsaber out going, that would be funny as shit. Because here's the deal. They bring back Thrawn. Hey, Misha. Thanks. We could be seeing the twins. I wouldn't doubt it. The reason why is because within the fan base, and I'm talking diehard fans like us, the twins are far more popular. Okay. And you had a powerful woman, Jaina. She was her father's daughter. Okay. What did Queen Elizabeth I say about Henry VIII? I am my father's daughter, and I am not afraid of anything. The same could be said for Jaina Solo. Okay? She's a great role model. A great, Mara Jade. I know you guys want that romance between her and Luke, but I just, no. It's really not needed, I think. They always seem forced, in my opinion, and forced romance doesn't work. I mean, look at Rayblow. I mean, perfect example. But we're going to be it's an erasing of the sequels, and yet it's not. They're going to be set off in a category by themselves, their own little pocket universe, and their fans, all 5 of those people, can go and beat off to it anytime they want. Here's the thing. The people within the shill community who say they like the ST, they don't want anything else to be, hey, Nikki, they don't want anything else to be available to the fans, because then if it's better, and my dog taking a dump would be better than the sequel trilogy. It is, actually. It's more interesting. Kojak, where are you? Come here. Come over here. Lick my hand. They don't want they don't want an alternate universe. Because if there is, and it's better, they lose cred, and they lose subscribers. People will lose interest. Even people who say they like the sequel trilogy, when they see a version of Heir to the Empire and that trilogy coming up, they see the twins being born, they see Anakin Solo, they suddenly get an idea that this is a better story. Because Jason Ward and even Pablo knows that the sequel trilogy is trash. They know it. They know the novels that go with it are garbage. There's eminently nothing memorable about Claudia Gray's bloodline. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. Her fans can say they think it's good, but deep in their heart they're being dishonest and they know it. Which is what, look, when someone is defending something that is indefensible because it's you don't even know why. It's if they're politically motivated, I don't know why. It's just really, you know what I'm saying? They will defend something bad to the death because it is part of their political outlook. Okay, which is what the sequel trilogy is. Okay, and they can't fathom why people wouldn't like it. And if you don't like it, well, then you suck. You don't count, and it wasn't made for you, so fuck off. Okay. What they don't get, okay, episodes 1 through 6, Clone Wars, even Rebels, even though I didn't like it that much, Bad Batch are basically canon, okay? Mandalorian is canon, okay? Boba Fett will be canon. Ahsoka, okay? Andor. The sequel trilogy is still way off in the future. And every little bit of tweaking that Favreau, Filoni, and, Rodriguez and Chow, every little bit of that they do changes that for the better, okay? And they know, the people like Star Wars Explained and Alex and Molly know that. They know that, but they've literally chained their financial world to garbage. And they know it's garbage. I mean, look, when a majority of people, a vast majority, the fandom, look, if the fandom was split in half, these movies would have made more money. Solo would have made money. The merchandise would have at least sold better. Solo lost $250 million, and I don't have to tell you about anything else. The only movie that came out that was decent, with a decent story that's memorable, that works, is Rogue One. And what I find fascinating is it was made by Lucasfilm London, okay? By a British director. It had a British cast. Let me explain something. The American side of Star Wars should be fucking ashamed of itself. At Lucasfilm. Should be fucking ashamed of itself. Okay? There was more respect for the entire first trilogy at the very end of Rogue One than there was in the entire amassed other 4 movies together. Okay? That's why this works. Here's the thing. There was a reason why Lucasfilm London was pissed off at Lucasfilm America and in California. Okay? They gave a shit about what they were doing. Lucasfilm California is nothing but a bunch of goddamn left-wing shills who saw the perfect way of pushing their bullshit. Critical race theory, the LGBTQ XYZ, I don't give a flying fuck shit. Into a place it didn't need to be. No idea, no respect for the fact that it was a fairy tale, that it's supposed to be timeless and not relevant. They weren't making Patton. They weren't making All the President's Men. They weren't making Saving Private Ryan. They weren't making a Zero Dark 30. They were making the sequel trilogy to the original trilogy. Okay. With no respect. Zero. None. Okay? And it's not just the fans like us who saw that. This is why Dave Filoni put The World Between Worlds in there. This is why Jon Favreau very obviously has told people he hates the sequel trilogy. This is why he went to Bob Iger and said, I can fix this. Now, why would he say that? Does he know something? Yes, he knows something. He knows it's killing the franchise. The franchise millions and millions, hundreds of millions, billions of people love. The people who didn't care about knew who the characters were. Okay? You know, people like normies hear the name Harrison Ford. They don't necessarily jump out and think Indiana Jones, even though they do. The first character they think of, Han Solo. Mark Hamill will always be Luke Skywalker. Carrie Fisher, very comfortable and happy being, she is very happy with being called Princess Leia, okay? You know, Billy D. Williams, Lando, okay? Peter Mayhew, obviously, Chewbacca. And it was so obvious that this wasn't, look, the sequel trilogy was an excuse to print money. And they deliberately went and fucked it up. You know, there's a reason why J.J. Abrams is probably worried about his deal with Warner Brothers. Because Zaslav's going to come in there and say, this guy. Guys like Zaslav probably look at the sequel trilogy and go, what the fuck? And they look at, hey, Darth Denise, they look at Star Trek. JJ Star Trek, they look at that piece of shit Alex Kurtzman and go, what the fuck? Okay, there are stories that are timeless. Star Trek, all right, I'm going on a Star Trek bet, didn't always necessarily deal with relevant issues. Okay, there's something timeless about it. Okay, anything set in the future doesn't necessarily deal with our mundane shit. Okay, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't. All right. Star Wars shouldn't and doesn't have to. Now, the PT dealt with politics. Not in the way it wasn't relevant politics. Okay. Look, I'm going to tell you guys something. If you study Roman history, if you study Greek history, the Greek republics, Plato, the Peloponnesian War, politics hasn't changed. Hasn't changed for thousands of years. People are still ambitious. People are still corrupt. People who want power want more. It's same old, okay? The human race is stuck in a tape loop of doing the same stupid shit over and over again. You know, and that's what the point was in the prequel trilogy. It is not to say that the prequel trilogy was about, you know, Nixon, even though George Lucas, I've said this before, I'll say this again. There is the boomers, I swear to God, everyone I've known, actually, I think, are afraid Richard Nixon sleeps under their bed at night and comes out and scares them. He's their boogeyman. All right, considering the corruption we've seen in the Democrat Party with Obama and Bill Clinton, and now this dipshit, Biden, Richard Nixon is an innocent bystander compared to this shit. Okay, but they believe it. They actually believe this shit. Okay, so they come up and they say, well, they throw Nixon in there instead of Hitler, Mao, Stalin, Ceausescu, Pol Pot, Mussolini, Juan Perón, it doesn't matter. They don't understand evil in the way that they need to, but they're boomers. Okay, that's just who they are. But despite all that, the politics of the PT were, if there was any relevant comment, on the PT for the time period that it came in 20 years ago. It was the rise of globalism. I mean, who's the Trade Federation? China. Okay. The banking clan. Look around you. Okay. It's globalism. It's the World Economic Forum. Okay. With Klaus Schwab, who looks like fucking Dr. Evil. Oh my God, have you guys ever seen the pictures of him? Go look up Klaus Schwab. SCHWAB. He's wearing this Dr. Evil sort of Star Trekian Sith-like robe, and there's symbols on it. And I don't know. It looks like, I mean, he looks like a Satanist to me. I don't know. But yeah, the banking clan. Okay. That's what it was about, if anything, relevant. All right. And, Palpatine was a master politician, a master deceiver. Richard Nixon was never that, not even on his best days. He wasn't. Okay, when you go back and look at the history, it's like, what are you kidding me? I expected to see genocide. These people think he's so bad. It's like, am I missing something? But, so, and that's the thing, okay? When you look at things that are relevant, Silkwood, it's about nuclear power, and Karen Silkwood supposedly getting murdered by government agents, and again, another whatever. That was relevant. Does anybody remember it? I want to see ones in the chat if you remember that movie. Okay, if you've seen it and you can recall it, because I've seen it once, and I was like, this is so stupid, I can't even, and I was a teenager when it came out. Okay, let's see one in the chat if you see it and think it was a remarkable enough film to remember. Because I'm like, vaguely, yeah, that's about it. Okay, relevant movies are not memorable. I mean, even All the President's Men does not age well. Okay, the reason why in this day and age, because the people that were the heroes in this, the reporters, are now the people perpetuating the bullshit. Okay, that's why it doesn't age well. And the reporters who are, trying to tell the truth are the ones getting shit on. Okay. Anyway, so relevancy doesn't work in Star Wars, and it really kind of doesn't work in Star Trek. Even though Star Trek is a very different thing, you still have to put a distance between Star Trek and our time. Okay? All right. There's a way of doing things like when Kirk makes out with Uhura. It's the first time a white man ever kissed a black woman on TV. Okay? There was no, vaunted virtue signaling. It just happened. That's the way you do shit like that. You don't make a big fucking deal. All right? This is why the sequel trilogy doesn't work. One of them. Using Star Wars as a pulpit to lecture people, ruining the characters. And oh, by the way, I just got this. Pretty cool. It's a pretty cool book. I would really, again, if someone could ever do a picture of Jason Solo force choking Kylo Ren with Jaina standing there over Rey's dead body, I will love it. I will absolutely fucking love it. And then, you have Anakin standing behind them with a hand on his hip going, That would be awesome. But you can't use Star Wars as a pulpit. You know, look, there are people out there who are unable to create their own science fiction thing where they can explore their weird shit. First off, it's a niche genre, and no one's gonna want, no normies are gonna watch it. They know that. That's why they came into Star Wars like parasites. I mean, if, Pablo wants to project a wood tick onto YouTubers, fine. But he's projecting himself, okay? He's projecting Claudia Gray and Justina Ireland and that piece of shit Daniel Jose Older. He's projecting Charles Soule and that other idiot whose name I can't remember. Everybody from that did the High Republic. He's projecting, Ryan Johnson. Okay, they're not fans. What a man does tells you more about him and how he feels about something than what he says. Okay? That is what we have to remember here. All right? And when you look at everything they've done, it has been nothing but tearing everything George built, tearing it apart. And then Pablo has the balls to go after George and indirectly for being wealthy. Pablo, meanwhile, goes on Twitter all day long, doesn't do anything, hasn't built anything, hasn't done anything. This was the product of hard fucking work, of health issues. George had heart problems making the OT, the first movie. He literally had to go to the hospital. Okay, the guy's diabetic, by the way. I did not know that. Star Wars, the original trilogy, the franchise, Lucasfilm, is a product of George Lucas's vision, of his hard work, of his dedication, of his genius, and his perseverance through all kinds of shit. All right? Of frustrations and everything else that goes into trying to produce something that is worthy of the culture. Okay? This is why he has $10 billion. He's the richest man in Hollywood. Because he worked his ass off. All right? And for Pablo Hidalgo on his fat ass to sit there and make snide comments about him is disgraceful. But again, Pablo is a left-wing dirtbag. That's how he described himself. I don't really see why he would change, why he would suddenly appreciate hard work. It's the same when even people on our side attacking Elon Musk. Hey, Troy. Okay, you saw Silkwood. All right. One of them. One of the people who has. Elon Musk has $230 billion. He's an American immigrant. He came from South Africa. All right. There's already an 8-ball. But he came here with his genius intact, and look what he's done. He's basically put a car and an invention out there that can compete with the regular fossil fuel cars that we all drive, okay, and compete quite well. All right. I had a friend of mine who's a hardcore conservative bitching about the tax credits. Well, yeah, because Tesla provides thousands of jobs, and that means not only does Tesla provide the jobs, but the outlying structure, restaurants, stores, retail, you name it, those jobs on those places depends on the people working at Tesla, okay? Because the people working at Tesla go to those restaurants, go to those grocery stores, go to those retail shops. They rent those apartments, they buy those houses, okay? It's just like Disney in Orlando, Florida. If Disney suddenly disappeared, Orlando would die, okay? No one wants that, okay? You have to remember there's a bigger picture here. A guy that has built a billion-dollar company, it doesn't matter if it's Lucasfilm or Tesla or, whatever, is someone to look up to and admire because they work their ass off. If they've come from nothing, and Elon Musk came from nothing, George Lucas came from basically nothing. Yeah, you're right, Darth Denise, you're right. Even Jeff Bezos, whose guts I hate, and I hate the fact that he's the one that's sending people up into space. I can't stand it. But, I expect Blue Origin to have problems. I just don't want it to have problems with someone that I know, but it's look, space shuttle, this is dangerous territory. Okay, this is dangerous territory, and there's still, there's a lot known, but there's still so many unknowns. So we'll see. But again, what does this say about what we're talking about? When you look at the book that's coming out about the Seth, and I don't know what the name of it is, and it talks about the world between worlds, there has to be a way for Star Wars to escape the sequel trilogy. And I'm going to bring in Ghostbusters Afterlife. When you have people at The Guardian, at Vulture, at Scott Mendelson at Forbes, ripping and screaming and crying that Afterlife isn't the the sequel to 2016 and it erases 2016. If Afterlife does as well as I think it will, everything is going to change. Everything. Sony is leading the way here, and the reason simply is this: Bob Chapek is a bottom line guy. I predict that Afterlife is going to make $1 billion. It's coming out during the holiday season. There's no reason for people not to go see it. And the draw from when you look at the reviews of people who liked it, the majority of reviewers love it. The majority of the reviewers love it. When you look at what they're bitching about, the people who didn't love it, and you look at what the people who love it are saying, it is a soft handoff. It is a respectful movie for Harold Ramis. Okay, the connection that his character Egon Spangler has with his granddaughter through her exploring his piece of land and finding his collection of spores, molds, and fungus, the proton packs, the jumpsuits, everything. It is really something when you look at what an elegant, simple thing it is to just say, we appreciate what came. We are going to go on with this, but it's going to be in a respectful way. We're not going to trash what came before it. And when the original Ghostbusters show up, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, when they show up with the proton packs and everything, that is going to be really fantastic. There are people out there that said they cried at the end. They were so happy. This is not nostalgia bait. This is how you fucking do it. Okay, I don't care what people say. It's just cheap. No, it's not. Did you grow up in a family? Don't you have good memories of things? What is this constant? We have to just ignore everything that came before. I don't get it. I really, really don't get it. And that is what has hurt Star Wars and Star Trek. Okay. That is the thing that has, basically made fans upset. Is that, that there's a reason why there's a fan base. And it's because those movies, those characters mean everything to people. Okay? They mean everything to people. And when you purposely go to fuck it up, JJ can say whatever he wants. They can blame Harrison Ford. And they do all the time. And there are fans on our side who do. And I'm like, you need to shut the fuck up right now. Because you don't know what's going on. When you purposely go to fuck something up, maybe you don't even know, because I think JJ's too stupid to know that he fucked it up. I think he knows now. But back then, I don't think he realized. All right. Iger knows he fucked up. Kennedy's too stupid to know she fucked up and probably doesn't think she did. Anyway, the thing about it is when you go and do that and you piss the fans off, it is not their fault. Okay? It is not my fault. I was deeply hurt and offended by TFA. That I was deeply hurt and offended by TLJ. That I wouldn't spend a nickel on the rise of Cockwalker. Okay? No, not even a nickel. Not my fault. I didn't write the script. I didn't produce the movie. I didn't direct it. All right? It is not your faults either. It is their faults. It is their fault. They didn't care. J.J. Abrams, watching him, I think he's probably hyperactive. Running around talking about his mystery boxes, and he goes over here and he does this, and goes over there. It's like, this is Star Wars. It is not Lost. Quit it. Fucking quit it. Ryan Johnson, who has never gotten over being the kid in high school who would just say shitty things about things people love just to say it. Not really a bully, just a fat dumbass in high school who who wasn't popular, who just liked to shit on everything all the time. That's Ryan Johnson. He's not a nerd. He was never a nerd. If he was a nerd, TLJ would be vastly different. Nerds don't shit on things they love. Okay? They don't. I look at the shills who want to protect us. Oh yeah, R.I.P. Colin Powell. Not my favorite person, by the way, Maze, but I've got reasons. But anyway, even to the shills who protect. It's okay, don't worry about it. Protect the SD. They know it's bad. They know it's horrible. They love it. What are they gonna do when they see Leia pregnant with twins? If we're actually gonna get that. Okay? I think that would be awesome. And I think that would be seeing Jason Solo as a young Jedi, seeing Jaina, seeing, young Anakin would be, that is what the fans wanted, okay? Have that story mixed up with what George wanted to do, all right? And you might have, something that's worthy of the original trilogy, all right? Because George is part of this, and I'm going to say, I'll tell you something else. Well, here's the deal. I really think that by the time that happens, that there'll be enough time passed between now and then that they'll be off to something else. In fact, I really don't see any Raylo stuff around. Maybe I'm missing something, but I really, really don't. I really don't. Well, like I said, I want someone to do a meme or a piece of art with Jason Solo force throttling Kyle Ron, with Jaina standing there, Rey dead at her feet. That's what, and then throw Anakin in there somewhere. That would be fucking hilarious. That would be like, oh my god! And when it comes out, if they do this right way, that's when the meme should come out. That's when it should come out. Yeah, or sticking his blue lightsaber through Kyle Ron's chest. But it'd be really funny, him force choking him. You know, and finally we get to see Adam Driver's giant ears, so the girls can see how truly ugly he is. Yeah, that would be funny. I mean, that would be really funny. Jason and Jaina and Anakin go to the other timeline to kick the shit, to get the shit, to kick the shit out of Rey and Kyle Ron. I mean, that would. Anyway, but what I want to talk about was the fact that I really do believe that they have to put the sequel trilogy in a place where they don't have to follow the timeline anymore, and I think that's what they're doing. And it's not going to be an erasure like they're doing with Ghostbusters Afterlife, but it's going to be something very, very, very close to it. Okay, because if this is as successful as I think it's going to be, I mean, I'm pretty sure that we're going to have a whole new timeline. Because, and I said this on Echo Base in the comment section. I don't care if you like the sequel trilogy. Okay, it's got its own little pocket universe. Go beat off to it. Okay, go do whatever the fuck you do. The fact of the matter is that it doesn't make any money. Okay, this is about money. This is about bottom line, real stuff. And that show, sorry to tell you guys this, didn't make any money. Those characters don't make any money. All right? Therefore, they have to do something. And here we go with The World Between Worlds. Here we go with getting good Star Wars back. A lot of people have walked away. And there are a lot of people, like Abanas, who doesn't like the idea of using The World Between Worlds. They don't have a choice, I think. Now, they could just do their own timeline and forget the sequel trilogy ever happened, and that would be fine. In fact, I'm going to tell you something. The sequel trilogy fans and the Ray Blows actually deserve that. You don't get to get what you like if it destroys what I like, okay? That's not how this works. The world, these people have to realize the world doesn't revolve around their asses, all right? So just ignoring it completely and shoving it to the side would be fine, like a la Ghostbusters Afterlife in 2016. However, because there's so much money spent on that dumpster fire, because it's there, and there are three of it. If there was one movie, they could easily walk away from it and say, fuck this shit. Just like they're not revisiting Solo. They're not, I mean, and if they do, they'll probably do a streaming show. And probably, not have Awful Aranyuk play him. Here's a question for you, for the Awful Aranyuk fans. That movie didn't make any money. It lost $250 million. When I see some young 25-year-old, millennial dipshit, talking about, oh, they could have Alden Ehrenreich play. No. Well, question. Would you have him come back if you were the producer? And you were looking at the bottom line and you saw how much money that movie lost? And you know for a fact he's one of the reasons why it lost that much money? Would you have him come back? I don't give a flying fuck if you like him. He can play another character. He can play fucking Dash Rendar. In and out. We don't have to see him anymore. Or better yet, he doesn't have to be in it at all. Okay? All right? If they do it, they're not going to have him back. Look, I see him and I get PTSD. Thank you. I do. I see him and I get PTSD. There it is. All right. I can't stand him, so they're not going to have him back. There are things that they can go revisit. There are things that they can fix. They can go and they can do a lot to fix what was broken. And that doesn't mean that they bring him back, that they bring anybody from that movie back. I mean, there's a reason why they're making Andor, because Rogue One was actually kind of successful. And I'll tell you, it is not because Diego Luna and Felicity Jones did a good job or they were memorable characters. It was a good story. Well, they can... I really don't... What are you doing here? The books aren't canon. So go sit down and be quiet now, okay? Thank you. I think there are people that show up here that just want to start shit and say shit that just it doesn't matter. And the books aren't canon. So why would you even... I mean, there isn't a Star Wars fan alive that doesn't know that. There are great things in the EU, but I'm going to go against the trend. I'm going to say they're not canon. George, I don't care how many people try to twist his words or come up with, convoluted stories about how he said they were. Of course he was involved with what they were, the way they were going, because those are his babies. And he wanted to make sure that Han, Luke, Leia, and Lando and everybody were presented correctly, okay? But they're not canon. But you can take things from them. You can use them. Coruscant shows up in Heir to the Empire. All right. There were other things in the EU that showed up. All right. I don't really care. Okay. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, that, the only books that are canon are the novel Star Wars, the novel The Empire Strikes Back, now Return of the Jedi, and then the novels that go with the prequels. That's it. Okay, that's it. Because they go with the movies. That's it. Okay. It's not difficult to figure out. So they can do whatever the fuck they want. It's not going to be reinforced. All right? They can't force Jon Favreau, who's a koala in the rain and has no fucks given about the sequel trilogy. They can't force him to acknowledge it. All right? It's over for them. All right? Okay? It's over for them. Even mentioning them at this point, it's like me looking in the rearview mirror and seeing a car 500 yards behind me. All right? That I passed a long time ago. They're gone. They're done. They know it. I'm going to explain to you how this works. Okay? Those books that are still coming out were started years ago. You know, go watch Midnight's Edge. When Andre says we're still going to see a lot of woke shit coming out because that stuff was in the pipeline. And it's too late to stop it. Okay? And it's merely a reminder for Favreau and Filoni that they don't want to go this way. Oh yeah, I mean she's and all we've got is the dregs that are coming up at the bottom of the the wine press. That's it. It's just dregs now. And we haven't heard anything. And it's what is the date now? It's October 18th. Wednesday apparently is the hard deck for her, either yay or nay. And again, I don't think we will hear anything. Now, does anybody know when the next oh yeah, I mean, Maze is right. When the next Disney shareholders meeting is, call, because I want to listen in. And the reason why I'm saying this is this. If JPEG doesn't mention her and mentions Mandalorian, mentions the Book of Boba Fett, mentions Jon Favreau, there you go. He may mention Indiana Jones 5 or he may not. They're not going to have one for the fall. I thought they'd have a fourth quarter one. Like in October. So there's not going to be any investors call this month. I thought for sure there was going to be one. If there's not, they haven't announced their numbers. Okay, well. All right, let's go November the 12th when they're having Disney Plus Day. We'll see what he says then. And that's going to be long after her contract is apparently over. Now, WDW Pro can say what he wants. Okay. Thanks, Troy. And Mikey Sutton can say what he wants. I don't see any evidence. Well, and I agree with that, but I don't even think we're going to hear it. I honestly, at this point, look, the Oscar video she did and the absolute ratioing it got and the comments was probably enough for Disney to say we can't have her anywhere in public right now. Look, the fans hate her. We hate her. We hate Leslie Headland. We hate Daisy Ridley. We hate all these people. And, it's one of these things where you're looking at any media person at Epic Stream, and they post that Daisy Ridley met with Kathleen Kennedy in England. And, of course, the usual suspects jump in and start screaming that Kennedy's still in charge. Oh, you're right. You're right, Maze. And we know, and Maze knows who I'm talking about. All right. EU fanatics who have always got to be right. Always, no matter what. Okay, great. November 10th. Okay, so If JPEG doesn't say anything, November 10th is the investors call, Carlos. And that's the important one. Okay? Because he's talking to the money guys. He's talking to BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard and, JP Morgan Chase and, Wells Fargo and Goldman Sachs and, he's talking to people like me. I found out that we have some Disney stock. And I'm contemplating telling our financial guy to tell the broker to sell it. I don't want it. And JPEG gets one chance to do this right with me. All right. That's my money he's playing with. I don't want it to be given to Kathleen Kennedy under any circumstance. Because she sucks. She fucking sucks. Ryan Johnson's, we all know that. All right, I even forgot my point. But anyway, if I don't think we'll hear anything. To be honest, I think they're not going to say a word about her contract being extended, even for a year. And the reason why is because all hell will break loose. You'll have, those fans over there screaming. You'll have the EU fanatics screaming. You'll have, you don't want that, do ya? Now, it comes out, and I'll tell you something. There are people within the fandom that are too stupid to understand that what a year is. It's 365 days. Okay? All right. That's a year. If it's even announced for 6 months, that group of people will freak their shit out. And they will run around screaming how right they were. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It doesn't matter the fact that she's retiring after is added in that whole sentence somewhere. They will still freak out because that's the only thing they can do. All right. Then you'll have the shell channels crying and moping and gnashing their teeth. All right. That's what'll happen if they make any announcement at all. And they know it. I mean, again, like Mazer said, with the numbers on that Oscar video, that woman is a PR nightmare. And I honestly, I'm going to say this. I think she's afraid to be in the public. Watching her at the Rise of Skywalker premiere, and I think, Maze, you were watching it with me. We were both watching it. She was stoned out of her ass. She was like, this stupid smile on her face. It was like, you're high. Because she knew that movie was was a dumpster fire. And her twin sister was there, and Lin-Wen Brennan was there, and you look at all three of them, you think they're triplets, and holy shit. Oh yeah, probably, Maze. Probably. Lonely Seth, I'm going to tell you something. Hollywood, like politics in DC, is not what you know and what your talents are. It's who you know. J.J. Abrams. All you can do is look at Steven Spielberg and go, why? Why? Yeah, I mean, and Maze and that's true. And she betrayed him. She got her jobs because, she was, I'll give you the quick resume. She was John Milius' secretary. Then she went to be Spielberg's assistant and secretary. That's okay. Then she went and, she met Frank Marshall. They both were producers on Raiders of the Lost Ark. She was a producer on E.T. And other, I mean, if you look at the people she's worked with, Spielberg, Milius, Eastwood, Clint Eastwood, Scorsese. She worked with Robert Zemeckis. You know, the list is, you know, and of course her husband, who's a very talented producer and actually a really nice guy. Here's the thing about them. You always get those couples where you hate one of them and think the other one's great. That's Frank and Kathy. Everybody hates Kathy, but everybody loves Frank. All right, that's what it is. And I'm going to say this. I have not seen her on the set. I'll probably get pictures because this always happens. You're talking about, like I was talking about Phoebe Waller-Bridge not being on the set in Sicily, and there she is. All right. And again, you can't really tell something is something from photographs. And, I have a sneaking suspicion about Indy 5 that they basically parachute into a Sword and Sandals epic being filmed. That's what it looks like to me. It just doesn't feel like time travel. I don't really see James Mangold doing that either. But anyway, look, I gotta go. I gotta go take care of the horse and come here, Kojak. Take this idiot. Hi, buddy. Let's say hi. Kojak. Koji. Koj. Kojak. You. All right. Okay, and then he turns around and looks right when I flip it back. I gotta take him out too. So anyway, you guys have a good day, and Midnight's Edge will be on later. They're talking about Batman and DC FanCom or Fandom. I'm probably gonna be in the chat. I probably will be. I might be out traveling around too, doing stuff. Anyway, guys, have a good day, and I'll see you around the galaxy.